Hey everybody, welcome to an episode of Relationship Wednesday. And we are dealing with all things, different types of relationships. So we are in 2026. So happy New Year, everybody. Of course, you know, I got one of my road, I don't like to say dog, 'cause I don't like
Big dog.
I don't know, but my road partner here, for like, you know, he's a great co-pilot with me to help, you know, articulate and unpack certain truths and revelations. So we're going to really, when it comes to relationships, the Bible talks about how we have to be rooted and grounded in love, that we may be able to comprehend with all the saints. Meaning that if our God relationship is out of order, it's hard for our horizontal relationships to be in order. So if I want to be great in my friendships, want to be great in my marriages, I want to be great in my business relationships, or any type of relationship, it starts with my God concepts, because it's like the cross. Because the cross is like the vertical, you know, that's planted in the ground. And so, you know, that brings stability to the horizontal.
It's tough.
So therefore, we're going to open up, really just beginning to unpack, you know, our God concepts out there, because it controls the way we move in all our relationships anyway. You know, who we going to choose to trust, not trust. Because, you know, when we're working through hurts and all that type of stuff, our God concepts control all that. So we want to really just begin to go through a lot of different ideas. So we're going to take the month of January and put it out there. We as you all know, we pre-record these, so if you see our same outfits on, we're doing it all the same day. We just, you know, post them weekly, so that way y'all know that is, you know, we're not wearing the same clothes.
We shine.
Right, yeah, exactly. So just give y'all heads up, and which is fine. Because again, we just break it down in bite size primarily, because we know that we live in a fast moving world, so we try to break them down into 20-25 minute bites, to where you can get what you need for the week, and then we pick it back up the following week, so on and so forth. So so the goal is, because we in a information highway, is that we want to, you know, hit some good points within like 20-25 minutes, and be able to make that investment, you know, into your life, and then we can move on. So again, we talk about all things relationships, and that's why we call it relationship management. That's one of our way we categorize. In other words, how we're managing our relationships, just tips on how to effectively manage. And then the main thing is, in our management, we really want to deal with it's easier to manage good relationships. It's harder to manage the relationships that hurt us. And so we really want to create a relationship tips, and where you can have some ways to properly make maneuvers from relationships that tagged us, so that way the hurtful relationships don't mess up our future healthy ones. And a lot of times, because we don't know how to manage the bad ones, we have a hard time managing the good ones. So that's really what the heart of what relationship management is all about. Relationship Wednesdays is all about. So anyway, so that's my vision. So again, I got my brother Mike here. We're going to really begin to talk about, and I really felt like Mike would be good. Of course, you know, we've always been a great tag team, but he in the world he lives in, he deals with people who battle or dealing with different sickness situations, and he works for different athletes and all that. So he has an opportunity to go into the marketplace and begin to, and as he's helping people, he begins to see how whenever he's trying to help them in their faith and believe in God, he always bumps up. Like there's always this invisible wall of their God concepts. And so we're going to just really hear a little bit about his experiences. We're going to unpack that. You know, me, I'm a word guy, so I want to take some truths from the Bible and just help unpack that. So between his experiences and some of the things I've learned from the Word about God, maybe it can bring some balance in how you can process God better in your own situation. Because I believe that if I can process God right, then I'll be able to now have the wisdom and the faith to be able to maneuver life challenges a whole lot better. So I'll say welcome, Mike.
Welcome.
Happy New Year, all that good stuff.
To you.
Yeah.
Shin.
So thank you. I did today. I finally opened up the gifts you gave us with the
today.
The Santa Claus. Yeah, I opened up
That's
today.
crazy. So you came with a hoodie to next year or this year, this Christmas.
No, I'm not bound by that. I still feel like,
Yeah, Mace had his on today. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
How you like the hat? The hat was cool.
Yeah, all that was good.
What about you? Oh, you're not supposed to be here.
It's all good. But anywho, so I guess just as a jump off point, like again, I guess just piggyback, just coming out of service, just piggybacking and just really explaining there's two types of faith.
Yep.
Faith that's based off of works, faith that's based off of grace, and faith at its core gets its power from the true understanding of God's character, God's nature. And as you study throughout the scriptures, that everyone who operated in a faith that moved things, their God concepts were in order.
Sure.
But those who struggled to see God, and again, we know that we may not see those biblical supernatural events, but sometimes breaking generational systems of where you saw divorce in your family, where now my family don't, face that. That could be a miracle in itself. So I'm saying everything don't have to be like super deep to be a miracle. Sometimes there's miracles in just not reliving certain situations, certain generational things, whatever. God can, even if your family dealt with depression, you don't deal with it. I'm saying it can be so many different ways, but it all starts with me knowing that God's good. Because here's the thing I've learned about hope. Hope comes from knowing there's something good on the other side of what I'm dealing with.
Yep.
And I just, my conversation where I talk with Mike is that people struggle with hope when they're in bad situations, which means that they're having a hard time seeing beyond the battles. And I'm sure we've all been there and sometimes the longer the battle goes, it seems like the harder it is to sometimes see that things can turn around. And that just lets me know that, and it happened to me too. So I'm saying, and I think, once you become aware, then I feel like a lot of times, we always try to find ways to create more hope. But I found out the antidote is if I can just, continue to develop my understanding that God is for me. Because I'm trying to find like different illustrations way to say it. So when if you are standing on the floor, you're gonna have a certain perspective. But if you go up on the ladder or you go up on something where you step up on something, you can see over something.
Right.
Which means that now I can see beyond where I'm at because I'm on a higher platform.
Sure.
So which means if I can stand on the shoulders of God's character, then I can see beyond my problems.
Nice.
But if I'm not standing on if I'm standing on my doctors and on my situations and even on time, I can still be on the floor and it's hindering my sight.
Yeah.
The ability to see beyond what's going on. Because the thing that we need, especially when things are not moving right away, is hope.
So, I guess this is a question because I have a certain perspective about the length of the battle. You say when something is going longer than you expect it to, like you might be in a storm longer than you would have want to be, right?
Yes.
My question is it the perspective of the storm that allows a person to be in there longer than they necessarily need to be? So if I understand that all things work out and that one, God didn't put me here, but while I'm here, I might as well learn a lesson in here. So when I get to my next level, battle a giant, I'm equipped because I was able to pass this test, if you will, right? Is that the difference between an individual thinking, woe is me, and if it ain't this, is that allows the storm to kind of stay present? You know what I'm saying? While you in it, like the victim mindset. So, because I'm trying to say, because I tell people all the time, right? So God said, I prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. And so many people, they want out, right? When most times it's what you need in the storm that prepares you or builds you up or gives you the character that you need to face life itself. But if I keep running from this pain or these circumstances or with my past, right? If I'm not healing from, what happened to me and I'm trying to run away from these things and not dealing with them, if I do get out, I'm only going to go back in because it must be a lesson in whatever I'm going through that I need to extract so like I can pass this test or what have you, right? So this is, I'm trying to get it from your perspective, because this is stuff that I tell people. I was like, bro, stop running from what you need. Because the last thing I'm gonna let you
go. No, good.
I spoke on it this morning, like, I was running from cancer. I was like, God, if you can just like let it be over. And I was running to like all these healing seminars, like somebody help me, right? Just get me out of here. And it wasn't until I was like, I ain't gonna run from this thing no more. I'm gonna face it, but I'm not gonna face it with my strength. I'm gonna face it allowing God to be God. And I'm gonna face it trusting that this process is only gonna make my story and my testimony greater. And when I got to that point in life, I no longer feared death. I no longer feared the results of, the PET scan or the doctors or whatnot. It was more so like, I'm gonna rest in the fact knowing that 2,000 years ago, he said he was wounded for my transgression. So whatever's happening now, it's just going to work out for me because I know that I already have the thing that I was begging for. You know what I'm saying? I was begging for healing. I was begging for to see another day. But once I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm not going to run from this thing because apparently it's going to prepare me for my next chapter. And so when I got with that perspective and that mindset, I no longer was the victim of, being in the hospital. I was like, nah, this is going. And then I had a different perspective when I got to the hospital, when I went through chemo, when I had to do anything related to the battle. My perspective was like, well, it hurts now, but it will be greater in the end. There's victory after this. But it wasn't until I changed how I saw it that I was able to kind of not be happy, you know what I'm saying, while I was going through it, but understand that this ain't it for me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I know that was a lot.
It was. You gave me 20 different points. So let's back it up and we'll go back and unpack it. The first question is that starts a lot of time when we're in our battles. We want to know why.
Yeah.
In other words, sometimes we want to know why is this battle here. Sometimes we may want to know why is this battle taking so long. Like, why am I not out yet? What's going on?
Right.
And the reason why I'm saying is that when we're in those moments, how we fill in the blanks, and that's what happened. You just you spent the last few minutes just explaining how you filled in your blank.
Yeah.
But the problem is where the frustration is because I want to know, because we always feel like knowledge is power, all those things. So it's like I want to know why I'm in this battle. In the battle I'm in, is it justified? Meaning, did I do something to deserve this, or why I didn't deserve this? I mean, I know I'm not perfect, but what did I do to deserve this? It's the why questions and how we're filling in the blank.
Yeah.
And these are sort of like, it's like it's kind of. You know how somebody can dry snitch on somebody, you didn't quite tell on them, but in your storytelling kind of told on the person.
Yeah.
So like a roundabout way of saying. So that's sort of what we do with God. Like these why questions, we're kind of we're not basically calling God shady
or a liar,
but in our questionings, we're sort of subconsciously calling God shady. You said you had my back. Yep. Why is this happening to me? Why is this going on?
So talk to this, because this is kind of in the same arena. People will respond to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's pastors or whomever. His thoughts are not your thoughts. His ways are not your ways. So try to get you to not ask the question. Well, apparently, because this is the bad theology. Apparently, God is trying to show me something, but I don't know why, so I shouldn't focus on why, because his thoughts are not my thoughts, his ways, because that's wrong. Right. So can you break that down? Because I even was told that
So yes, and the problem is how we feel in the day, and how we fill in the blanks. That's the problem. When we don't know, sometimes we will give ourselves an answer just to feel like we know something.
Job. Job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I came up with that answer, it got to be right.
Yeah.
That's sort of what we do. Like, because this is the conclusion I came
Because
to.
we need something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's like our minds work like phones when they roam. When like, in other words, your mind gets tired
That's
if
tough.
it has nowhere to land.
Yeah.
So what happens when you're out and you don't have an internet connection? It will search. And it will search, and it may be an open network, maybe not the best one, but
Right.
it's like, I need somewhere where I can land.
It's tough.
And that's what our minds will do to us sometimes. It will search for answers, and even if it's not the truth, because I was able to land here, that the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away, I will hold to this truth because it gave me something to land on,
It
even
makes
though
me
it may not be a
feel
firm foundation.
better, right? It makes me feel, at least I got an answer.
Yeah,
So.
like I hear a lot of athletes say everything happens for a reason. Where did you get that from? But you needed somewhere to basically make sense of all your training and everything you did. You had a freak injury. So I need to give myself this to make me feel, to give my mind something to land on.
Tough.
And so now I will begin to build my life around this thing I decided to believe to be true. And then now when I'm in life situations, I begin to frame these ideas about God. And so, yes, everything can happen for a reason, but the problem is it's given this connotation that God authorized it
Yep.
as a way of making you stronger, make you better. To me, you gotta look at it like a parent. So in other words, I'm gonna say, the way I'm gonna train you, I'm gonna put you in a den with venomous snakes. And once they bite you, I'm gonna give you the antidote, but I'm gonna take you through this process to make you stronger. Like, what type of parent would do that to their child?
Right,
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm gonna shoot you with a gun to show you what it feels like, but I'm not gonna hit any vital areas. I'm just gonna be enough where you can stay alive.
Yeah.
You know. So, but
Then
when
you gotta trust me to make sure you don't die.
yeah. Right. So in other words, remember, everything happens for a reason. I'm taking you through this to make you stronger. You know, the whole nine. So there has to be balance to that. Those type of ideas.
Yeah.
But the thing is, just going back. So when we ask those why questions in that moment, and then the answer we come up with, that's why you got to really connect with people who can really take you through the scriptures and show you how God really works, because you got a lot of people who will say, give you ideas that thinking that and whatever. So anyway, answer your question. For my ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts, higher than whatever. So I'm gonna give you your terminology. So you have the acronym. So you've built a brand called Dog Culture. So what is that?
Desire, attitude, will, and grind.
Desire, attitude, will, and grind. So these are philosophies that build dog culture,
Yep.
right? So now what you're saying is, you have a way you coming in here. Dog culture is not your way. My way is different than your way. So it's not that you can't understand. I just want you to understand, if you're going to embrace dog culture, then you have to embrace desire, what that means, attitude, will, grind, in order to leave the world you're in and embrace a new world.
Okay.
So what God is saying is, the way man work and how they think is different the way I move.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you can't understand me.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that you can't put me in the box of how man moves. You got to learn there's a new way that I process things.
There you go. Yep.
And that's why you have to, and what do you say?
It's tough.
You gotta have the desire. What does desire do? It opens up the door for you to embrace the other three. So you gotta have the faith to be able to understand what I'm trying to give you. But if you don't have the faith to believe, then you won't embrace my way of thinking and my ideas. Because that's why Jesus say, seek first the kingdom, which means that I can understand your ways. He said, but it's different than the system. You can't serve God and man. I mean, he's not saying you don't have money. He's just saying, there's a system that God works from. There's a system that the world works from. And he's saying, you got to let that go if you're going to embrace a new way of thinking. So a lot of times, it's all like people come into a program and you come from a different one.
Yeah.
Which means that you're going to have to just let go of that terminology in that program to embrace this one, because the way we move is different the way they move.
Sure. Yep.
So we're not saying you can't understand. You just got to understand we're not doing the things the same way that they move.
Yep.
So That's the whole thing. So a lot of times we took it as God is super mysterious. I can't understand God. I don't even know.
Powerful,
right. And it's like, how can we even trust a God if he's going to stay mysterious? And we, you know what I mean? So that's not what he's talking about. Yeah. But we've done great in filling in the blanks for what we don't know.
And the worst one, which I feel like it can be motivating, but it still can mess you up, is God gives his toughest battles to his toughest soldiers. Like that's the one that everybody hangs their hat on. When they going through it, like that's the one you tell your friend to make them feel like, oh yeah, God chose me for this. You know what I'm saying? And in a sense, it's like, oh, well, that feels good that he trusts me with it. But then it's like, well, why would he trust me with battling cancer? You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people, like, that's where they at. You know what I'm saying? And that's literally like, if you ask anybody, or if you talk to anybody going through something, or if you listen to a conversation of like close friends talking, and you'll hear that come out. Hey man, God, you know what I'm saying? He saved his toughest battles for you, for your toughest soldiers. And then now you feel like, oh well, God gave me this cancer, so I'm gonna now, like, it's hard for me to trust him, even though I'm gonna try, but it's hard for me to trust God to get me through this if he gave it to me.
Right. But you notice that, and we'll say this, is that you see how we're trying to make sense of what we're dealing with. It's like we're trying to find a way to fill in the blank, because our mind got to land somewhere, so we're trying to figure out, and it's like, this is where we get our hope from. Isn't it crazy? And we wonder why we have a hard time really having sustaining hope. Yeah. Because we got hope that's built off of the one I'm trusting in. You've had a hand in what's happening to me. Yeah. You know. Yeah. So I want to see if I can find this real quick, and then we'll end for this week, and we'll pick this up next week. Let's see. My gosh. Let's see if I can find this. Because it's been a while since I've looked it up. It's just so it says in James 1:17, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. It comes down from the Father of lights, whom there is no variation or shadow of turning. So, and then this is what Jesus said: if your child asked for a fish, would you give it a stone? Sure. And he was talking about how much you think your Heavenly Father, so you think your Heavenly Father will set you up to fail, right, knowing that you're looking. And he says every good and person. So you mean so cancer's good? Poverty's good. You know, setbacks are good. All right. So meaning that we've turned to the world to fill in the blanks, and God clearly says, if it ain't good, it ain't come from me. Yeah. But here's the thing. So what we're saying is, even though God never authorized or came from him, but God is still saying that I'm still going to put everything in you to win, even though I never authorized the pain. But we have to realize, Satan says, I want you to believe that the reason why you're strong enough to endure it, because the one who authorizes it is the ones we got to make sure we separate the two. Yeah. But anyway, we're going to hit the pause button here. We'll pick this up next week. And so y'all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Happy New Year.
Thank you for joining Pastor Wayne Powell Sr. for this edition of Relationship Wednesday. We hope you enjoyed this episode of After I Did. Let's keep the conversation going by leaving your questions and comments in the chat. We also invite you to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And don't forget to click the notification bell so you are reminded to join us next Wednesday as Pastor Wayne continues this discussion of After I Did.